speaking of Ottawa, real quick, I want to give an update on the ownership situation, if I can, Julian.
Yeah, go ahead.
For people who are wondering kind of how this is playing out in Ottawa. So I was told recently that Gary Bettman's going to be coming to Ottawa next week. So next Monday, which is the 27th, I believe Gary Bettman's going to be coming to Ottawa. I don't think he's going to be making any grand announcements, though. I don't think, like, Julian, he's going to come to Ottawa and say, you know what? We've decided on who the team's going to be sold to. It's going to be I think, like, remember he came to Calgary, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Whatever it was. I think this is going to fall into the same bucket where he's trying to get to most NHL markets, make an appearance. Obviously, coming to Ottawa at this juncture of the ownership situation is curious, but I don't think he's going to come here and make any grand statements. But that's one thing I've been told to watch out for, is that Gary is going to come, possibly with Bill Daly, but certainly Gary will be here. And I believe it's on Monday, the 27th. The other thing is, so the first round of bids came in, Julian, and I think there was quite a discrepancy in the low and the high bid. Like, in terms of, I've been told that the lowest bids may have come in around $750 million for the team, and the highest ones coming in north of $900 million. So that's a pretty big discrepancy, like 150, 175 million. And the one group, and I've written about this group a number of times, they're based out of Los Angeles, headed by a gentleman by the name of Neko Sparks. And what I really like I've always loved about this group, been fascinated. I can't quite get all the details on them. Like, it's really hard to nail down information, but they're a group, Julian, that would look like nothing else the NHL has ever seen. Like, they would be comprised mostly of people of color. I was told that their ownership consortium would be 15 people. 10 or 12 of those people would be people of color. And we've talked about this earlier in the show, how the NHL can sometimes, needs to diversify. This would be a great way to do it. I know that Daniel Cherry is one of the investors in this group. If that name seems a little bit familiar, he's actually an Adidas executive. Kanye went after him big time last summer. Because remember, Kanye and the Adidas, they had the big fallout.
Yeah, but I remember that.
Daniel Cherry is somebody who used to work in marketing for the New Jersey Devils. So there's anyway, it's a really interesting group. And I can't quite seem to nail this down. But if I had to make an educated guess on which is the group whose bid kind of came in around 900 million, that's where I would put my money. I would put my money on the Sparks group being the $900 million bid. That's what I have to
admit. Like, I've only heard it mentioned kind of one other time that this ownership group, with that seems to be diverse in his personnel, has been mentioned. I guess because we all got kind of lost in the potential of Ryan Reynolds being associated to an NHL team and the celebrity that he brings as a actual celebrity and what that could mean for the league. But if this other group with Neko Sparks works out, like, that kind of puts the NHL at the forefront of something that, like, does not happen a lot in sports, where we see persons of color owning teams. We think of owners as, like, old, scruffy white men, Jeremy Jacobs types. But, like, how many teams in the Big Four in North America are primarily owned by people of color? You could probably count on one hand. I can't think of any. And maybe I'm wrong, but, like, you can.
Well, Michael Jordan owns a stake in Charlotte, which I think he's trying to sell now.
And he's trying to sell that right now.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't think there are a lot of teams that have that. So if this works out, I hope we keep that same energy for covering the story the same way that we would have if Ryan Reynolds ended up being the owner of the Ottawa Senators.
And the other thing is that this group, this Neko Sparks group, they have in their back pocket, I've been told they got a legit A-list celebrity. Legit.
Okay.
I can't crack that one. I have tried.
This is pretty sick. You out here dropping some gems, Ian. This is pretty sick.
I got told, I wrote about them in January, and I got told that this is a legitimate A-list celebrity who has worked with the likes of The Weeknd and Drake. But so it's like, to me, I don't think it's The Weeknd or Drake, but I've also, people have suggested.
Well, once upon a time, like The Weeknd, it was reported on Hockey Night in Canada that The Weeknd might get in with Ryan Reynolds.
Exactly. So I've always had that in the back of my mind. That maybe it's The Weeknd, but I try to get to people close to that Sparks group that I can't do it. I can't. Someone else is probably going to crack that nut before me, and it's going to be pretty cool. But I think that they have somebody legitimately A-list celebrity waiting in the wings. And it's look, there's a lot of excitement around it. And then this is the week coming up where I learned what a cap table was this week.
A cap table?
Yeah, I had no idea what a cap table was, Julian. Very quickly, it is basically it's a short form for capitalization table, and it's like a spreadsheet. So every group that's still in the running for Ottawa's in the ownership race here, you have to submit a cap table to the NHL in the next, I think it's the next 7 days, 10 days, and it would be a cap table with great detail of your ownership group. So let's say you and I. And well, Laz is not on the call anymore, but let's say the three of us were bidding to buy the Ottawa Senators, and they're like, okay, now you guys have to show us your cap table. Well, we would have to show them, okay, here's our company structure, and Ian's got a 20% equity stake in it, and Julian's got 40%, and Laz has 15%. And here's like, this is the week where you kind of, it's one thing to say, we're going to bid 800 million or 900 million on an NHL team. It's something completely different to say, okay, it's almost like this a game of poker, and now it's time to kind of show your hand a little bit. Mm-hmm. So that's where we're at in the Ottawa sale. I think there's going to be some stuff this week, and I certainly think if Gary comes to town, like I think he's coming on Monday, there's going to be something there. Nothing great, but there'll be an update, a tangible update. I think on the 27th. So that is.
I'm excited for that day now. This is pretty interesting.
Well, let's try to get Gary on the Monday pod.
Ooh.
I don't think so. But anyway.
You don't think you'd do the Athletic Hockey Show with us?
No.